Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Lucid, and I am joined once again by Demosthenes.
So kind of excited to share a bit more of this Cold Rhaga playthrough with y'all.
Yeah, so we're getting to a pretty interesting point in the game. You're about to attack Zabalba, which will pretty much be attacking the whole world because people are wise. They'll know that they won't be able to stop you if you eat Zabalba.
Yeah. I've sort of been in this situation where I've been the biggest player, but I haven't been making any aggressive moves for probably 15 or 20 turns at this point. And so sort of a situation where like nobody really wants to attack me without having a coalition together. And because Lemuria only just died, so Dom kill, I think maybe a couple turns ago, I think we missed
Oh
it in
no, we
the,
mist it. Yeah,
the cast. There was a Dom kill, so that it was uneventful. And they got bomb killed by I think Patala killed off the last Dominion that they had in that port to the south or something
that's
like
very
that.
funny.
And I think we will get to see the end of Ulm because it looks like they still have a couple to see ports. But anyway, but basically Gap is
Right.
busy in Ulm and Atlantis is busy with Lemuria. And so, if you were trying to organize let's go after Division One player, some of the stronger nations that do border me, would have been sort of busy.
Right.
So I've sort of, used that sort of safety from incoming coalitions to build up my economy.
Right.
And, the current climate to try to do a really fast attack on Zabalba and try to take them out of the game before other players can sort of rally to their aid,
Right.
and thus make myself sort of even bigger for that big coalition war.
Right. Extra. And that, yeah, I think that kind of gets at one of the really important points in a lot of these games, which is just timing, right? And there's a very good timing window, which is going to close up in not very long because this war with Ulm is going to die down. The war with Lemuria is already ended. These are slow map move nations, though. So, after they finish Lemuria, it'll take them a while to put more stuff on your border. Like, this is just enough to maybe defend against you. This isn't going to come over and conquer you.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah, and
Yeah. Another point is if you look at my research, I think I just got alteration 8 this turn. We did this rush up to Thaumaturgy 8, which is militarily a very limited direct impact for me. It's basically an economy play for Gilgate.
Mhm.
And I've also gotten some of the worms that walk to give me some non-communion nature mages so I don't have to worry about magic duels or whatever for it. But
Right,
sort of, if I were fighting somebody, it would be alt 8, enchantment 8, those sorts of things that I would be going for,
right,
not Thom 8
right.
with this.
So this turn, I think we might have looked at it briefly. It's turn 47. You summoned a bunch of storm demons, which is kind of interesting. And really just a few of these in an army can make a pretty big impact. And then I know this turn you had mentioned you're also casting
Yeah,
Transmute
that part.
Fire.
And we talked about this and some discussion about how many gems to do. I ended up doing 150 gems. I think
Right.
you can sort of check it by changing his orders.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's got all of my boosters so that he's at the fire stuff. I think you get a slightly larger amount of gold for each gem you put in.
Right.
I mean, part of my thinking is I will actually cast Transmute Fire. I think each of the next, for 3 consecutive turns. And part of it's just budgeting for myself. It's easier to, like if I wanted to build infrastructure, what I should have been doing is Transmute Fire actually several turns ago because that,
Right.
sort of takes time to pay off. But because what I want to do is sort of troop, effectively this first turn will give you enough money to buy troops everywhere.
Mhm.
And then I'll have 2 more turns where I build troops in sort of specific places while the ones that are further from a border get, transported basically to where they're going to be useful.
Right. And of course, speaking of transporting troops, that's the other big thing this turn is we can see lots of troop movement getting ready to attack Zabalba. I know you had mentioned magic size, army size items. Did you end up doing some of that?
Yeah, go to the top of this list. I think it'll be a commander at the top. I think
Oh,
what I'm
here we go.
actually doing is pretty sneaky. So I end up making a total of 3 of these, and I kind of add one each turn. That from a scouting report perspective, it'll look like this army is not changing in size when in fact it is growing by 225 troops over
Yeah.
the sort of 3 or 4
You're pretty close to the supply limit here too.
Yeah, I think my worms that walk in, see, actually this turn I think is where I move all the shamans in order to fix that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Nice. Yeah, you're at minus
um,
103
yeah,
here.
if you look, the flying movement from the swamp to the west is flying into shaman, 1.5 shamans a turn from where I'm making them
Mhm.
in the swamp. And they only can make it to there where the wings do. So
Okay.
there's a difference.
So anything else to cover? I'm kind of antsy to get to see this war with Zabalba.
Yeah, I think we should keep going. Yeah.
All right. So this brings us to 48. And more storm demons, a worm that walks.
You can see some manifest vitriol that I added in, and that is largely, I sort of wanted to have some sort of untyped damage. The lions have the cool acid. I
Right.
think we even talked about, I was thinking about doing staffs of corrosion, but I ended up deciding that these were sort of more economical for how I
Yeah.
wanted to use them. Yeah, they're a little less mobile than, a flying commander with them a spell item, but they only have 7 cuts, but, they're a lot
Yeah, they're
cheaper.
really good though.
I think I ended up making 10 of them.
Yeah.
Uh, as a thing to sort of stand behind my line of heavy cavalry with bows and sort of shoot things.
All right. And this,
Other thing you can see me doing is in this product, I've got a bunch of my Fire 3
ooh,
mages.
it's a lot of money.
A lot of money. And yeah, if you look, I don't have any of that money left.
Yeah. Looks like you did a pretty good job
Well
spending
gone.
all of it. Yeah, we got that. So what's the thinking? But you're getting some walkers here. What's the thinking behind that?
Yeah, so, they're sort of, we'll see this when we get into the fighting, but there's sort of different classes of formations that I want to have. So the infantry are sort of this medium infantry that costs 11 gold. And the big thing is they've got built-in fire resistance, but they'll be really good for being blockers, keep my mages from being lighted on by bats. And, I can cast things like Firestorm and Heat from Hell with impunity
Right.
with them in the army and, whatever other buffs I want to do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, sort of in other places that are not on the border, I'm largely making flyers, but because they'll be able to get to the front just fine anyway. And
Oh, you actually
I
did go
think,
a bit over supply here. Oh my God, 1,200 siege strength. You were ready to go.
yeah, I think I summoned a few great eagles there, maybe last turn of this turn, something like that.
No, where did this Zabalba army go? Because where was it the turn before?
Well, previous turn it was 1 turn east, so I'm pretty sure that the Baba got. I think actually by Atlantis, you can see that Atlantis, they like me have flying scouts everywhere, so they probably know what's going on. But sort of on their northeast border, Atlantis has a bunch more stuff than they had last turn. You were sort of commented it was a defensive army before.
Right. Yeah.
I think maybe next turn is when I see a scouting report that mentions like 14 Agacock. Anyway, it's very clear that they're sort of mustering. Maybe in a couple turns from now, and I guess the Bulba might have seen them moving a few provinces back and
Okay.
decided to turn around. So
And we
I ended up
don't
looking at
really
it.
know what's here. It could be they're also massing forces somewhere over here too.
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up talking to this Volvo player, yesterday or the day before, and I think he mentioned he was thinking that possibly I would also be attacking him. I think largely just because I think he rolled a very large scouting report that was double what I actually had through the army size items. He rolled a 700 on his scouting report for that.
You know what I wonder?
So I think my ruse didn't fully work.
You know what I
but,
don't know? This would be interesting. I wonder if no, we probably can figure this out. I wonder if the army size applies before or after the doubling. Or the double, it's before?
I think it's before.
Yeah, I think that's right. Okay. But if it didn't, that would be kind of weird because then you could get, if you got a double, it would be bigger, right? So if you had 400, it doubles to 800. But if you had a minus 200 army size, it would go down to 600, and that's a lot different than 400, which is what you would get if it doubled, if you did the subtraction first. So.
Yeah, and to be clear, the army size items are still helping me because he thought 700 rather than 1,000, right?
Right.
And so.
Okay. Anything we need to cover? Because we don't have the attack orders going up quite yet.
Let's go. Well, I think I'm pretty sure I did 80 more alchemy that turn.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that your fire gem. Oh man, you're really burning fire here now.
Yeah. But,
yeah, another.
So this was another 80 or so. The other thing that I'm spending fire gems on is I'm making a bunch of dragon helmet and the fire.
That's good.
Because the Bulba is a Welling Winds nation.
Right.
They've got the air death on blood communion mages. So I want it to be the case that my important mages important to skate through the battle as opposed to important to cast a buff, and then if they run it fine,
Right.
I have it. So I think this time I'm actually manufacturing a bunch of it.
Yeah.
Because I just ran out of hammer turns before the war.
What are you thinking about Staff of Storms? Are you thinking you want to have it just in case, or are you thinking you're going to bring it with your main stack?
My plan, well, we can try next turn. I think I sneak it into a province where I'm planning to reveal it when storming the port.
Okay.
Before we leave that turn, I think that might be when the capital gets stormed.
Oh, cool.
Which will be battle, though. This is a great arena battle. I had been making these Zaid and Babette and decided it'd be really fun to bring one in. And I bought him with a bottle of water, but it actually got replaced. I forgot about the slave color from it being the People's Arena.
Mm-hmm.
So my guy comes in and he tries to get this over.
23
but the defense skill is too high.
That's so funny.
And so water elemental comes in, and just as a reminder on my bless, I don't have any stats on my bless, but I have +3 attack skill from Throne.
Right.
So this
But you can't get, you're not
Aiden
blessed though.
actually not blessed. Yeah, that's true. Maybe that was actually the other item I had was the anyway. I had some sort of thing, but you're right. I guess it. Anyway, but the high attack skill with the lightning spear just stun the water elemental into
Oh, about
oblivion,
that.
and with 1 hit point left, he then Sul the Hoberg and gets him. Well, I was pretty pleased with this.
That's pretty funny. And the main Goshaparian couldn't get through. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, 20 protection,
Yeah.
right?
That's funny.
And the other thing is that this guy has a really high repel, right? So it's a length 4 weapon
Yeah.
with damage.
Well, but
I'm getting 3 attacks.
they've got this slave collar. They're not going to get repelled.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So repel isn't going to do anything. Well, it could chip him to death, right? With
How about that? What'd you get from that?
I got the Sun Seal.
Cool.
So that guy's now a little thug.
Let's see. No, so we might see the end of Ulm here.
That'll be next turn. Yeah.
All right, let's go forward and check. I got turn 50. So turn 50. Okay, battle in Ulm. And this is the turn you're issuing attack orders, right?
So we'll see on the map.
Oh my god, that is so many. He's going to do the swarm spam again. God, that's so many mages.
Yeah. But you can see that Gath, however, has learned his lesson from the previous battle.
I forget what lesson that was.
Well, his lesson was that trying to get the giants through the gate was hard. You feel those magic taking off?
Oh, did he do mass flight?
No. So Gath has this national imp summoning spell called Summon Magic. So basically they're an imp, but you get them with nature gems.
Oh.
And in the back of his army, he had a squad of about 40 of them. So if you go look at Mage
Oh
Corps,
my gosh.
there's bloodbusters going on.
Oh, this isn't the combat summon. You mean this is the...
Yeah, they're a permanent summon that you guys nature them.
And these claws have 2 attacks, right? Yeah, okay.
So 2 attacks, and they've done bloodlust, and I don't know what else. But in any case, there's no bodyguards back here. So
that Shadow Blast did some work.
Yeah, that was well placed Shadow Blast. I guess you can see that the freshmen are now running back, I guess, to fight the closest enemy.
And he's pushing his way up here through the gate. Oh, Gifts of Heaven coming down. Are the Mazics... Is that what they're called? Mazic, yeah.
I think it's Mazic, yeah. So the Mazics are dead, but
they've done their job just in keeping the gate open.
And if you check F1, you can look at how many mages has lost already. If you see they lost 10 and 15 mages. Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, that was significant.
So,
they could have unbalanced the comedian too or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's Gifts of Heaven.
Yeah. Well, at least they're going to get another wave of long dead horsemen to hold the line a bit more. But
Blade Wind coming out. Ooh, Gath is creeping forward, and there's not as much chirp.
And there's still a bunch of those here alive, which are just very good at talking through Gilly's because they can kill several in a single turn.
Ooh, we got a thug here, it looks like. Ooh, look at that boy. He's a prophet, too. All right, almost routed. A long holdout in the cap. We saw some of those battles earlier.
Very well played by Alm. I think that was one of those things where I think they've had a really fun time just playing the cap defense game for last several turns and seeing what they can accomplish.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to do it. I mean, it's just you have nothing to lose, and turns are like 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah. So okay, this is it. This is the turn.
Yeah.
And oh boy. So where are you sending the main army?
Yeah, well, I think that's a good question. So I think one thing to look at is research before we get into it, just to remember what I can script this turn.
Right.
So I got Enchantment 7 this turn, and I was actually, I think, deciding between that and Evocation 7. Evocation lets me do Firestorm.
Mm-hmm.
But my theory was that Firestorm would be better as a trick to have appear like when storming the fort rather than when I'm taking, Fort PD or that sort of thing.
Right.
Enchantment lets me do Poison Ward, or sorry, Serpent's Blessing, which,
Right.
is just a much more sort of scary cost of thing with the type of stack that Zabalba has.
Mhm.
So the sort of next thing to look at is Zabalba's army composition. So
Yeah, he's got a lot of these corp
they have stealth
constructs.
units. I don't know about everything, right? But there's a ton of corp constructs there. I also had scouted that army, and there's about 80 of their Toad Sacred,
Mhm.
which are notable in having poor magic resistance. I think it's only 10 magic resistance, but they're otherwise extremely good units.
Are you going to Wind of
And
Death these
then
guys?
on these, that is not my plan,
Okay.
but I think it's like sort of worth talking about. I'm hitting almost every fort that they
Right.
have this turn. And I'd say that my main goal for this first turn is to crack 3 forts and also to destroy their blood hunting operation.
Yep.
And the blood hunting operation is actually really important because, when you're fighting a blood nation like Zabalba, at least my experience in playing as them is, you're going to want to do for your stands and your fort, blood communion and spend a bunch of blood slaves. And usually one ends up spending all the blood slaves you make every turn. Not always, sometimes one stockpiles. But,
Mhm.
if they're doing that, then if I destroy their blood hunting operation, they sort of are on a limited budget,
Mhm.
unless they can trade for what they can spend defensively. That'll really limit how much I need to deal with things like lifelong protection assassins with black hearts or whatever, because, they're going to sort of run out of ability to forge those.
Sure, those are kind of the things they would have been spending them on all this time. They're not really something you're like, it's
Um,
not really like a panic button, like, oh, fuck. Panic
Absolutely.
buttons
But,
are like
the point,
huge bloodletting communion where like,
yeah,
we're going to
yeah,
summon
for sure.
1,000 imps. So,
For
yeah.
sure. Yeah, so it's just, sort of limiting their options. So I know where all 4 of their blood hunting provinces are. Yeah,
What
but
the fuck? Is this
this
Muscovy
is the,
Highlands?
what do you call it? Yeah, Miss College Highlands event chain.
Jesus Christ, that's a
For these
particularly
guys.
bad one. I don't remember that many air elementals. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. I'll actually fill what my plan is for killing these guys, because 14 air elementals on turn 1 attack is actually,
Yeah.
you need a real army to kill
Or a
that.
super combatant. Yeah.
Or you can see my scout who's sneaking in. You give a Arya
Oh,
scout a lifelong protection, immunity to lightning, and above war, and he's going to stand there and pelt them with arrows. And
nice. That's
um,
pretty clever. I wouldn't have thought of
yeah.
that.
Can summon like I think they don't have enough gems on them to summon more than a size 3 air elemental, and that will just fly up and try to shock me and not be able to do any damage.
Right.
So
Cool.
the plan there. Before we actually, while we're here, I want to note. So
Yeah.
we were talking about doing a surprise attack on Patala,
Mhm.
and I am actually marching an army for that purpose from my northern fort. So the army going into the waste is what you want to look at.
Waste. This one.
And province, yeah. So and this is just the chaff part of the army. And as you can see, I'm actually reusing my army size hiding gear. That army will be completely invisible.
Nice.
So the plan is we're going to move there this turn. We're going to move 1 turn further next turn, and also move some mages that are not flying from the fort next to it, and then do a sneak attack. And I'm sort of trying to conceal what's happening a little bit because the army in Bogarut is marking a province north. So I'll make it sort of look like, and it's pretty similar in composition to the one that is leaving that fort. So it'll sort of look like, I just moved that army back a turn to kill the Indies, or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I see the ruse, right? Oh, this army moved here.
Then it's back
just
again because
disappear.
it'll be back, their next turn.
Yeah.
So that's the game I'm playing. I don't know if it'll work, but that's what I'm doing up there.
Okay. Yeah. And
We'll come back to
and
that
you
one,
hit this with
attack order attack.
Firestorm and Fog Warriors and Wailing Winds. It's going to be over or Arrowfend. It's going to be over super fast.
Yeah, so that's, and then I think that sort of talk about the invasion of Zabalba.
Mm-hmm.
They have 4 blood hunting provinces. I think 2 of them are on my border, that one and that one.
Yeah.
That is some crossbowmen marching home, and then there's the one just south of what you've got clicked on.
Okay. Oh,
And
yeah.
then the one west of the lake is their last one.
Left of the lake. Wait.
I don't have scouting on it this time.
Okay, right
because,
here.
I moved
Yeah.
away because that's where they're patrolling, but I know that that's where it is. Well, this is actually a cool little squad. So the Aharani is a 12 pearl Kalim Line Summit that has gifted water breathing built into the chassis.
That's pretty sick.
So just needed to give it on the leadership item to have it going with some demons to do radiant.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. I like that.
And then most of these places are getting hit.
Let's
This
see,
one is a little
Thug. That's
fuzzy.
pretty cool. Body Ethereal Blessing
yeah, and he's
Quickness.
and then the mage runs away so that it doesn't
Right.
get
And you
eaten
got a
by
skelly spammer in there too.
to slow them down. And the cat. Well, I think I'm
Your
just
capital, you're
pinging it.
pinging.
Calling.
This one, okay. You're gonna pop this fort. You're gonna pop this
That
fort.
fort with an archer army.
An archer army. This
And
fort,
I'm also
you're
pumping.
pinging. Which is the third fort you're popping?
I think that one actually might be. Can you? The cave fort.
Oh, this one. Okay.
I made
Yeah.
the darkness over the last few turns.
Yeah, they'll be really good in
So that's
here.
why I'm sending the few
Okay.
for that. And the other thing I'm doing, I think I took that Fire 7 caster here. And if you go 2 provinces west, two east of there, I moved the gear 2 provinces east. So I'm casting fires from afar
Yeah.
at one of his, at the cave port. It's a little,
Yeah. Clear the mages out.
Exactly, Zabalba mages have like 7 hit points and no native protection.
Right.
So even though it's only like 15 dots, if you can spend 10 fire gems and kill a bunch of mages, it's pretty good trade.
Yeah. Only thing is, those mages' lives may have been forfeit anyway. I'm not sure if you've got a proper army over there. You can't, because this fort's going to be locked down, right? The only thing you have to really worry about here is, especially if Atlantis was planning on attacking you, he could just knock you off this throne.
That is a risk. I think we're gonna have an army that I'm not super afraid of. I think Atlantis would at least make some blocks there.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to note is people sort of see this next turn. If you look at just hit Y on that fort, each of the forts that I'm cracking, I'm bringing a well-in windcaster, but in most cases, he's sneaking. I'm not expecting a fight this first turn, and in any case, if it is, I think the open plain is not bad for me.
Yep.
But for the fort storming, I want to have well-in winds up so that I can get their mages to run, because skellies, they can find spaces or things that I may have trouble with. But if all the skelly fan casters run, then eventually, then it doesn't matter as long as they can't kill any of my stuff of value.
Well, this is super cool. Would it be rude if I asked to go forward? I'd love to see how this first turn plays out.
Go for it. It's also a magic-based attack, but we'll see that when it happens on one of his blood hunting provinces.
All right, turn 51. And maybe we'll do, maybe this will be the end of this episode, and we can do the rest in.
Yeah.
Ooh, Raven Feast, 6 gems. Very nice.
Do you think we want to do an episode probably now? This is going to be a pretty long turn with attacking them in like 10 places.
I think it's okay. I think we can do this in like 15 minutes, right? Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm kind of just, let's do it. Okay, so this is a magic-based attack. This is Horde from Hell and Arouse Hunger. This is 2 Hordes from Hell castings, right?
2 Hordes from Hell with Arouse Hunger, and also a Cloud Trapezing Quickening caster. So there's one of my mages in the back who did Quickening the first turn or 2.
And then Air Elemental. Yep. That was nice. Looks like you get to keep most of these guys. You lost 6 imps and a couple ghouls. I killed away.
I killed away, and the odds has got away, but it's also control of his land. He was using the blood hunt so that he can't do it more. And then the horror, the province up.
Right.
So, map. Yeah. So this was, I think the fort where he had those auto. This was locking it up, and I think I had a commander of his siege unit with the idea that I'd trap them so that they can't reinforce.
Nice.
The one fort next to their capital that was attacking.
Well, we'll go look at that. I kind of want to do this from this menu rather than the strategic map to keep it a bit of a surprise. All right, so this was this thug coming in with Ethereal and Luck, and then the one guy doing Skelly spam.
Yeah. And
sadly, he's getting targeted by the archers.
The thug is buffed up. You can sort of look at the setup for him. The sort of key thing here is the use of the Demon Whip, which is a weapon I haven't seen used much, but it actually is cheaper than a Firebrand and sort of serves much of the same purpose. So 14 armor piercing AoE fire damage. So you just swing and you clear a square of path, and the fact that it has high length and 4 attack skill means that
it's excellent for repel thugs.
25 attack skill, so it's a repel defense in addition to protection. For a lot of thugs, you might be a little worried with the sort of thing that you're going to run into anything that is fire resistant and you can't kill them, but he does have the 2 Griffin attacks in addition, and so
that's cool.
That's sort of my thinking around this build.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, super efficient little raid squad. And I know that's one of the things you're kind of excited about, really about playing Cult of Rhaga. There's lots of weird little janky efficient things you could do like that. So it's kind of cool to see it.
Yeah, and I would have done a lot more of those if it weren't fighting Zabalba, but fundamentally, what my squads are actually preparing to do is have a bunch of bats land on them turn 1.
Right.
And, point buff mages is not,
Right.
not the setup for that. You can see I have Winter Wolves in the back here.
Yeah, that was for air
Are
elementals, right?
Exactly. Or even, if something like his Ozelotls landed on me, the sort of thought would be that those would be able to sort of do damage pretty quickly and maybe freeze them. But way different from base would have been better if I was worried about that.
Nice clad Sayedin. Okay, very cool. So that was the second one. So far you're 4 for 4.
So this is a Skelly Spammer.
And here you were counting that there weren't going to be any flyers.
Yeah, that was just a random province's PD that I'm just,
This is close to working.
Then 3 gems.
Oh, it does work. Oh man, they sniped the commander.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The militia
The
run.
efficiency. I'm getting an efficiency boner. Oh, this is so nice. I was like, oh, it's not going to work because they were chewing through them faster than you could make them.
Yeah, I think like if I was sort of really expecting just PD with no mages, adding a lifelong protection to him or bringing 2 or 3 of them, could kill a lot more PD. But
all right, so that's 5 for 5. All right, this is a sizable force here. I expect we're going to be 6 for 6 after this.
Yeah, so this is the force that was, I think, coming from Bogaruth, and this is attacking one of their cold provinces. So like they had 3 provinces that had my dominion in them.
Yeah.
And that was almost
okay.
Yeah. And so for those, I figured I'd use my troops that have cold bonuses.
So this is the throne that's near you, right? Because this is your archer squad that was.
Yes. That do have a bunch of bats land on us. Probably take some losses there, but Fog Warriors goes up now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say an acceptable amount of attrition.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a. Effectively, I took a gem burn here with. I didn't need the Fog Warriors to kill these guys, but
I think the Fog Warriors is nice. Heat from Hell might have been a little overkill because it also would incentivize him to be like, "Oh, I need fire resistance," and which if you're going to surprise him with Firestorm, you don't really want him thinking that.
Absolutely. The problem, of course, is that I was considering the possibility that either Atlantis would attack or that they were patrolling because they were worried about Atlantis attacking. And
that's a great point.
From Hell was one of the things that will really wreck that pile of corpse.
Right.
Because they'll catch on fire and burn.
Okay. So this is pretty good. We'll have to come back and see which forts got popped. I'm interested to see what happens there. Zabalba is moving into a province that you took in the magic phase is what this looks like.
That is, I believe, what's going on. I think it was actually just adding some more blood hunters to this province.
Yoink. Oh man, he actually escapes? Oh man, what a Kamazai got out with the skull staff.
He got
this is a Wailing Windscaster.
Turn 1. Yeah, that's a Wailing Windscaster. Yeah.
So we'll have to look where this. Wait, I don't know where this province was, but this you don't just casually move around a Wailing Windscaster. He thought something might be up. Where was this province?
Yeah, this was in the space between.
Oh, so this was coming back from Patala. Okay,
yeah,
this was the Patala Theater of War.
Yeah, if I had to guess, that guy was set up to be like maybe like a magic phase Horde from Hell supported, Wailing Winds, or I don't know, something cool.
So this is just one of the Zabalba forts. You're going to lock down.
This is, I think, their western fort.
Right.
You can see for that one, I have both a bunch of Draconians. I think they have a pretty large army inside. This one has maybe 200 bats.
Right.
If I wanted to have enough siege strength. Right. So I bought a lot of the sort of heavier flyers.
We've got a little friendly fire from the Storm Demons here, it looks like, too.
Yeah, inevitable with Storm Demons.
The price
I think I did have everybody on a hold and fire formation, so it was just to try and manage.
This is a new one. So I'm losing count, but so far you haven't failed to take a province you've attacked.
Yeah. So this is what I would think of as my main army. It's certainly my biggest major commitment. I think there's 15 plus German.
Was Zabalba talking with you prior to all this? Like, were y'all in reasonably frequent communication?
We're on friendly terms. That was definitely I don't think we chatted in 3 or 4 turns, but we'd been keeping up a friendly banter about his the Patala War antics. So I felt a little bad knifing him, but it just felt really, really fun to try and pull off this kind of great birding.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm wondering because Zabalba, this really is somewhat on Zabalba to I mean, he should know that you're position one, and
Mhm.
he shouldn't go to war with another enemy to like open himself up to a flank, right? Without a non-aggression pact from you, and maybe like if I were gonna do it and I wasn't gonna like organize a coalition to fight you, I would want a non-aggression pact from you, and I would probably want to know what you were doing.
Yeah, I think if he'd wanted to ask for a nap from me 5 or 10 turns ago, he probably would have gotten one. And, I think in his position, that would have been a good play for him,
Right.
because then he would have,
Yeah.
it might have been a similar avalanche of troops hitting
Right.
him, but, he would at least have prepared some sort of clever defenses in
Sure.
some of these
Yeah. I
things.
mean, you can't. I mean, but like the disadvantage he's going to have after this alpha strike is enormous. So,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, if you didn't want to give it to him, people at this point, people are like, I don't know why people sign. There's like this kind of cult in Dominions of people who are like naps are for wusses or something, or like whatever. Like, don't sign a
Yeah.
nap. The thing is that if he wants to do literally anything other than attack you, he must have a nap for him. Because if you don't,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get committed to a war in Patala. The number one position in the game is a free agent and can just like swing back the bat as far as he can so that he can just like power strike you. Like, no fucking
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and in this case, because I've been doing this alchemy, this is probably only half of my total troops or something that are involved in this war,
Right.
because I just been building so much stuff.
Yeah.
But I think a thing that is not uncommon to see, especially at the position one as a nation with stealth ability on their unit, like a Pangaea or a Mannheim,
Right.
really is like their
Yeah.
entire army hits you all at once.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like people are like, if you have like a position 1 or 2 Pangea or like basically the birds and the elves, people who can do these big alpha strikes, if they're like position 1 or 2, like they don't accept the bullshit from them. Like, I'm not gonna, give you a non-aggression pact. Like, fine. Like they don't have to give one to you and you don't have to, want one. But like, this is the consequence, like you, you, you don't want to not get a non-aggression pact from them when they can do this huge alpha strike and be like, I'll just hope they don't attack me while I go off and fight another war. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a good way to frame it is that the non-aggression pact in the case where I'm 3 times Zabalba's size is very much to Zabalba's benefit. And so, y- you know, they should strategically be trying to get that.
Right.
If their plan is anything other than team up with 4 nations to attack me. And even if it is,
Yeah.
you may want to nap and then just try to have all 4 naps end at the same
Right.
time,
Yeah.
for your world
Yeah.
war.
So, I mean, but I get like if Zabalba's plan was, hey, I want to eat Patella before I fight Rhaga, like that is a completely reasonable plan. But you have to get a non-aggression pact so that you don't get stabbed in the back while you're mid-war.
Yeah.
Okay, another success. Another success.
Put on to one of my armies, so
This is
if
kinda
you want to
cool,
look
man.
at that one just to see what.
Yeah, we'll take a look at
Yeah,
all the
let's do
fort
that one.
battles in a second. And just make sure I don't miss them. Oh, yeah. I like how you split up the squads too, so it's going to be hard for them to, because that's always the
And pass, exactly.
those goddamn underwater bastards always run past any sort of screens. This is really nice.
Yeah, the Ahrani is actually a little bit hard to kill in that it's got like 50% underwater regeneration and built in liquid body, but
Yeah.
I didn't put any armor on it, so I don't want it in melee.
Okay, well, I don't think you lost a single attack.
That
So
is correct.
that's pretty
Aside
goddamn
from the
clean.
ping at Zabalba,
Huh? Oh,
yeah, aside from the ping at Zabalba, you can't win that.
yeah.
That's not a.
I'm surprised you
what I
didn't try
actually
to
probably
magic
should have
phase that with
done-
like this would have been a great horror candidate or something.
Yeah, I that was a mistake.
Yeah.
I should have done that because it would have, just really limited their options to reinforce anything.
Right.
That said, Zabalba is a flyer nation, and a stealthy flyer nation. So they can actually evacuate all of their trapped mages if they so choose.
Right. That's
Um,
true. Yeah, that makes the little fires from afar thing or flames from afar a little bit better that you cast over here. Because those mages, I made the comment those mages' lives were forfeit. Not actually true. So
Yeah, exactly.
I like little details like this. Like I
Um,
see you sneaking some boots of flying out that you no longer need. Very nice. It's used to get
Yeah,
this
that
guy
would
in
probably
position.
count fire mage
Yeah.
there exactly, but it will not have it be at risk. And that guy, I think, was a gem mule. So if you actually look, I've been making those indie Camazot every turn, and they're everywhere in this war. There's gem mules. They're also my demon leadership.
Yeah.
So, in fact, those guys have 40 magic leadership and 40
Oh,
undead leadership. So,
that's cool.
PR can, obviously they'll die, so you need to be careful. But they're fantastic for moving around demons
Yeah.
or leadership summons. I think my winter wolves are all being ferried by them. And
Okay, so this fort, so we're basically storming all the forts. Let's make sure this is the cave province with, this is more like high quality units. We've got the Great Eagles, we got the Fiends of Darkness. Got these, these are going to be on guard commander for the whole fight, I take it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Only the demons are on sort of orders to engage, I guess.
Okay, so you're storming here, you're storming here. Do you think people in the game know that you're in position 1 by a margin?
Yeah,
they do. Okay,
for sure. It's hard to get guys into my empire, but I think everybody knows that.
I think that's one of the most important things for, like, I think a lot of diplomacy, like, people like to think of it as being like silver tongued or something like that. That's really usually not what it is. Most of the time, diplomacy is just making sure people are aware of the game state. When it's to your interest that they are. If they're not, you obviously don't want to like call attention to that you're running away with the game. But
and similarly, when it's in your interest that they not be aware of it, patrolling can be pretty effective. One thing to note is that on my western border, blood hunting and patrolling in a lot of the provinces, but not all of them. And so, I'm sure that, it at least makes it harder to get scouts through. It's not a complete barrier, but, it could be. Like, it would be inexpensive for me to make it a complete barrier.
We have rafts too, right?
I wanted to keep
provinces, income. Yeah, Jesus Christos.
The one thing, actually, the gem income graph is pretty interesting, because you can see that Zabalba's gem income was super low.
Yeah,
I think they just
that's actually wild. Holy shit.
Not broken into diversity, right?
Look at it. You went up like 25% in provinces, but you went up like 10% in income.
Gem income is even less. It's like 5.
Oh, that was income. Yeah. 5%.
Part of it is that they ported places of magic sites. Like, they actually do have some good magic sites inside.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not that one, but really just actually that one has a crypt underneath and a throne. So
yeah,
I think, actually seeing how few magic sites Zabalba had really adjusted my impression of just how much they're going to be able to resist. They don't have a pile of gems burning a hole in their pocket.
Right.
They've been on a really tight budget the whole game.
Okay, so we'll call it into this episode reasonably soon, but I want to let's just go through real quick each army, what the game plan is for storming. So we've got, I can already see some details, like we got Wailing Winds coming out.
Yeah, the Wailing Winds, and I think that this one has a bunch of flame eruptions scripted early. Okay. So, a fog word for communion, and I've got enough gems to handle a gem bait, and then from hell, I think, and a ground army.
So this one,
I think I have a decent number.
This one doesn't have Firestorm yet.
Yeah, I thought about doing Firestorm, but I decided it would be more friendly fire than the alternative, because.
And you've got Wailing Winds too, which is going to do it, especially in a fort battle. It's going to do a pretty good job at,
Exactly. But also the composition of that army is they've got a bunch of bad troops that, things like, I think evocations early is more important than anything else. And also, I think the ground army is to protect my Draconians from friendly fire.
Yeah.
And getting stunned by thunder strikes and so on.
Okay.
I think this one is the easiest of the battles because it's
isolated.
There's so little built for them to reinforce, and I think that they have very little melee chaff of any interest.
So this is the next one. This one. Wait, whoops. Let's see, Bloodlust, Fog Warriors, some Quickening.
Then I think
Warriors of Niflheim.
Warriors of both Niflheim and Muspelheim.
Wailing Winds.
You've got some Freezing Mist.
Relief Howl.
A Howl Caster, to Iron Mist in the back if they've got a Storm. And I might be using the Storm Staff here.
Yeah.
Remember.
I mean, this just is a good combo. Like, I mean, it's not, like, you're not doing the kitchen sink here, but Fog Warriors plus Wailing Winds is fucking strong. Like, if you don't have like ways to quickly damage people with that shit on, it's, you're gonna be in a bad way.
Yeah. And they do have somewhere a stack of their stealthy obsidian warriors, which do have magic weapons, but I think it's going to be hard for them to survive the evocation power that I have
You're
there.
not doing Firestorm here
And
either. You're
then
not revealing Firestorm, but he'll know you could do it, right? Because it's the same. Oh, no, no, no. It's one more tech than anything else you're casting.
yeah, he will not know that I have Firestorm, so I have the option to use that later.
Okay.
Maybe there'll be a Storm of Thorns or something from one of the War Mages that I can't control. But I think largely they're going to knock themselves out casting Battlefield enchantments, and
Okay. And of course,
probably that won't be visible.
the other thing, which is a big variable, is this army is possibly going to have to take a fight with the Cap army. And
And my
this is
plan
probably
is
the most
to
predictable move, is that you would take this army and move it here. He might think you're just going to be. You might have to fight this Father Illyrth too, but oh, or the
the
Colossal Head.
Colossal Head is also dangerous.
Yeah.
So the reason I don't want to go on the capital is that the Colossal Head is an added threat, especially in a cave. Like he could just Earthquake spam to cause attrition.
Right.
And so, I'd rather preserve my army's strength, and then, my plan is that next turn I would move on to their capital, bringing one of my other victorious armies onto that fort so that I can storm it. But so that basically that fort is forfeit, even if,
Right.
anyway,
I know what you mean.
like if both armies are wiped on the capital.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course,
Other
you're
thing I'm doing
continuing
is
to
that-
raid,
Yeah.
and
you
you're
can see that there's-
consolidating here for Patala.
Yeah.
And in some ways, this
The
is smart
other
because you're
thing-
anticipating the logical move for them is to all turn on you now. And so it's saying, okay, if we get this Patala army off the board, then the only thing that can really threaten you is Atlantis and Gath, because Agartha looks, I don't know what even Agartha's doing. Is Ballin still playing Agartha?
build at least once recently.
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
what I mean. He's stealing in another game I'm in.
But
so
fundamentally, just if you look at the economic numbers in the graph, he just doesn't have the
Yeah.
might to really much. Like I honestly think that the nap between me and Agartha is making the game easier for the coalition in the sense that probably I could roll over Garth in a way that is profitable.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
given
Well, I
the-
don't
the
think he's
current
doing
research.
turns. I think he's.
Yeah, I think
know. But
he's-
Ballin just
he's
doesn't
not
have
doing
enough time to play Dominions games anymore. I don't think. Which is sadly true.
We'll hopefully get a sub, but I think just the research advantage is too
Yeah.
much because he's one of the states that never won a first war.
Yeah. Well, and
Just
he
like
also, he's probably got 600 gems in the bank or something too, which it's hard to efficiently turn those into power in like 3 or 4
Yeah, I
turns.
probably actually do need to kill him to take Earthblood deep well off the board.
Yeah.
He's probably got 600 gems on that global.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or income from that global that he hasn't
Yeah.
spent.
Okay. So next episode, we'll have the continued results of raiding. We'll have the fort stormings, and then we should also, assuming you attack Patala, we should have this Patala battle.
Yeah, I think that'll be the second turn of next episode. Yep.
All right. So tune in, guys. Hope you're stoked. And Demosthenes, it was fun as always. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Don.